the old Duncan pipe and some Gareth Hogarth dark flake A. Just the job. Nice good strong tobacco for a cold night. Not that it's that cold. It's not going to freeze because it's overcast, but the wind's got up, so I think we're going to get a bit of rain. I think rain and stormy weather maybe. Hope not, because it's nicer when it's frosty. I've still got a bit more treeing to do, just a little bit. Nearly finished for the winter, so that'll be good. Almost a tradition really, because back in the old days, in the 70s, when I was on the Dutch elm disease job, summertime used to be the time usually to get rid of the big trees, and winter was the time for planting new ones around the streets of the town and outskirts of Liverpool as well, places like Crosby and Formby, Maghull, all sorts of outlying areas around the streets. But it was hard work, and these days life's quite easy compared to that. So although you moan about hard work when you're younger, it's often a good thing to stand you in good stead for later years. And it was pretty hard in those days because it was mainly hand-walled-in jobs with everything. There wasn't that many easy ways of doing it. Trees had to be cut down from the top downwards, and there were some damn big trees as well. Dangerous as well, because the dead ones were quite brittle at times and bits would fall off, so you had to be careful. Very often things would fall that shouldn't have fallen and land on things like statues around town, and sometimes catch cars as well. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. We had two gangs. I would have been in my late teens and early 20s, and I got the group B. I used to take the younger lads out. I used to have some job creation lads, plus a couple of older hands who knew what they were doing, and we'd take them around the streets and knock the trees down, and all had to be dug up by hand as well, and the roots chopped, as you couldn't just pull them over. And in those days they wanted the whole base of the root base out as well, so it was cutting through some massive trees with the axes. I ended up with getting ganglions on my fingers with the shock of the axe. Big axes, I'm not sure what they weighed, but they were quite heavy. Still got one somewhere with I think it's a hickory shaft on it. It's a bit rusty now, needs grinding and sharpen it up again, but it was tough work swinging those things all day, and using some big motor saws as well. We used to have some with big 4-foot blades, the big stills, and partners and McCullochs. Absolutely deafening on the streets when we were doing that. Yeah, so it does make you know how lucky you are these days, and it's so much easier. Absolutely mad times really, times when the odd accident would happen, but it was usually self-inflicted in a way by the younger guys who'd get larking about and do something silly, because health and safety didn't really exist a lot in those days. They got more paranoid about it, the bosses, later on, but in those days it was pretty much every man for himself, and the big guys would always be looking for a laugh, and sometimes the laugh ended up in tears. but I can remember, I think it was the first time I ever went up a tree. It was a big tree, it was a really big elm, and there was the old timber ladder, 38-foot ladder, and one of the guys put one of the big ropes around me shoulder. He said, right, take that up to the top of there. And I thought, no way. Anyway, I scammered up and I managed to get the rope up the tree where it was to take this branch down, the timber hitch round it. You got a groundsman on the bottom, then you go back up with a saw and cut through it, which took a while. And there were some huge branches coming down, usually where you wanted them, not always. Crazy times. Funny how it all comes back to you when you smoke the pipe, really. It does seem to open a window to the past. But had some huge fun as well. And the main tobaccos that guys were smoking then was Condor, that was probably the popular one, and St Bruno, that was always about. Maybe Walnut Flake as well, and Hogden's one, and Erin Moore. Gold Block. But yeah, it was tough work, and I think the worst thing that ever happened to me was I cut through a tree once at the roots with an axe, and one of the guys said to me, just take that there. He scraped it off with a spade, all the sand, put the axe in the earth, brought it down, bang, the whole tree was on fire. Probably mentioned this before, actually, thinking about it. And it blew the axe right out of my hand. It turned out I'd gone through a power cable right next to the police station. It put the police station out for a day or two, and it took me to the hospital, and I thought it was great because I got the afternoon off. So although my face was all sandblasted with a blast and the fire up the tree, I was okay otherwise. But I think that was about the worst thing that ever happened to me. Some guys weren't quite as lucky. They got worse injuries, usually with motor saws and hand saws and that. Once got hit in the face by a shovel. That wasn't much fun. Walked right into a shovel and it knocked me out a bit. Fortunately, I was near my girlfriend's house at the time in town, so I went round there and had a nice hour just recovering with my girlfriend. Crazy, but it was all done in good humour. Yeah. So anyway, here to tell the tale. Many tales. Should write a book on it, really. But I never have done so far. Maybe one day. Anyway, guys, hope you're keeping well and keeping safe. And thanks for watching. Speak soon.